Everybody, man, I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed. And like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. So with that being said, man, I've seen the last time you guys liked the homies, the Paisas video. I was like, man, I had to sit there and think for a while. I was like, man, what was it called? Because they called themselves a certain name. Took me a while. Now, I'm not going to remember none of the names because they're always Spanish names that, were kind of unfamiliar to the regular Speedy, Droopy, Baya, those kind of names. So those are easy to memorize. So I'm going to get into the video. So with that being said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like, always leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Check the links in the description for my Apple and Spotify music. Go ahead and run my streams up. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you guys for your guys' support. Now, for those that are unfamiliar with it, the THU program is called the Transitional Housing Unit. Said it, and I talked about it before plenty of times. But that's where a lot of the Mexican Mafia dropouts, Nuestra Familia dropouts, ABs, the BGF, and people that are validated before the indeterminate SHU was suspended, and people all got kicked out that were validated, used to go to debrief, do like a 6-month program, and then get released to the yard. Now, the Transitional Housing Unit, once they got released from that program, it seemed like Kern Valley State Prison SNY was the hub. The level 4 180 was the hub for that particular transitional housing unit, which I never understood. There's plenty of SNY level 4 180s, but these individuals, no matter their points, had to go to a level 4 180 design. I think they had to do like a year before they can drop points and go to a different facility. I'm not really sure how it works. But there was some paisas that were off the main line who were validated Mexican Mafia associates. And these individuals were some big heavy hitters for the Black Can on the main line. Now, I can't tell you how many there were in particular. I'm only going to speak about the individuals that I know that were present on Kern Valley State Prison C yard, level 4, on the lower yard. There was about 5 of them that I know of. There could have been more. There could have been a lot more that had been distributed to other facilities that didn't land in Kern Valley. But these ex-Mexican Mafia associates, I'm telling you, these paisanos, however you guys want to call them, they lasted on Kern Valley maybe 6 to 8 months. Peacefully, though, until the end. But I guess while they were in the transitional housing unit, they decided to unite together, like in secret, and call themselves the United Ones. Now, during the time at Kern Valley State Prison, the Orange County car went at it with the 2-5ers. Then they created the All-Stars, meaning that, you know how in Orange County, I'm not sure what cities it are, but they represent a star. I'm not sure if it's Anaheim. I've seen a lot of dudes with OC tatted on them with a star in between. So that's where they picked up the term All-Stars. Creeper was one of them. The homie Ruthless was another one of them. They were from Orange County. And the beginning founding members of the All-Stars were butchers. They sliced, they stabbed, they did everything. A lot of them were lifers. Then throughout the years, they started recruiting members and it started getting watered down. And these guys started getting punked and so on and so forth. Usually how it works. But I'll say this, man. That homie Ruthless from Orange County, bro. That boy was an instigator, bro. That boy, he'd start hella fella, bro. I swear to God, I've seen so many riots kick off because of that idiot. But anyways, so these paisas come together and they formulate this group called the United Ones, Unidos. They hit Kern Valley State Prison C yard, and one of them for sure, a lot of people talked about. I just don't know his name, man. Honestly, like I'm gonna be honest with you, Tijeras or something. It was Tijeras. It was one of those two. I talked to him, but he didn't speak not one speak of English. So mostly what I'm about to tell you, how we did business, bro, I was able to, communicate that. But this dude, he was tall, brushed his hair back, looked like a straight Mexicano mustache. Y'all know what they look like. And he gets to the yard. Now, it wasn't him. Honestly, I think he was the front man. I think he was the one that was on the yard negotiating, business with everybody. But out of these 4 or 5 or 6 individuals, I want to say it was 5. I can point them out. I just didn't know none of their names. When they go to the yard together, they were always by themselves. But then you'll see that one homie, Tijeras or Tijuas, whatever his name was, I see him talking to the 2-5ers, talking to the Zapatistas, talking to the riders, talking to everybody on the yard. When these 5 individuals, or 4, how many were there were, hit the yard, bro, the gates were flooded. Mind you, the Orange County car, right after they went at it with the 2.5ers, before they went at it with the 2.5ers, like I told you in our previous video, they knocked the canteen worker. So they were bringing in cell phones, dope, everything. They were the ones flooded the yard. But when the 2.5ers tried to oppress them and extort them, and the riot kicked off, they kind of lost their wave. So now these Paisas come to the yard and sew it up. What I mean by sew it up, bro, trust me, as an STG group, first of all, the 2.5ers, when we started hearing the name Unidos, and we were like, well, what is this, a new group starting? The 2.5ers automatically, hey, bro, they're going to try to dead the issue before they even grow. They're going to try to get them off the yard or recruit them before they even get numbers. Because they didn't even want to see the All-Stars blow up the way they did. But a lot of people from Orange County just got fed up with these individuals oppressing them. It was too late. There was too many members. There was like 30 members in the beginning, and then it got to like 100. Now, so the 2.5ers were kind of looking for them. We didn't. Me and the homies kind of like, whatever, bro. You know, some Paisas coming together, something small. It was probably not going to last that long. There's a lot of the Players Club. Didn't last long. The Mano Rojo, the Red Hand, didn't last long. And I was a bunch of transsexuals and their boyfriends coming together representing the Red Hand. We see a lot of little groups come up and then fall off. It is what it is. People just try to, you know, be somebody on the yard. But when I say they sewed it up, bro, they had the best heroin known to man. It's like they were getting it imported right off the poppy fields of Mexico. Right out of Jalisco or wherever they grow it out there in Mexico. Dude, these dudes had... Their business was different because on the SNY yards, I'd have to break it down. People get burned a lot for the dope. The dope game is probably the third biggest reason why people get removed. And I'm going to do a video on the reasons why people get removed on the SNY so much. But in the beginning, when the dope first hit the yard, you know, they were selling quarters. You know, fat quarters, though. I mean, fat. They were chunky. And they were like solid. They weren't gooey. I ran into stuff that was gooey. I ran into stuff that was great powder. I ran into China White and then the tar. But this one was like rock solid where you can get a blade and just chop it up in rocks, bro. I swear you can, a little square like that big, you and your celly be lit for like 4 hours. So imagine a quarter, I'd be high for like 3-4 days and I'd be sharing with the homies. That's how good that heroin was. So when they started making business, they started quartering everybody to death, papering everybody to death. Word got around fast. Like these dudes got the best dope. These dudes got rich. But they were quiet on the yard. No one ever talked to them. They didn't talk to nobody. They went and did their programs. They were reporters. They were laundry workers. You rarely ever seen them on the yard other than weekend yards when there was no jobs. And that's when they get their yard is the weekend yards. Except that one dude that was their front man, he'd be negotiating with everybody. He'd be walking around with, I swear, bro, he'll just pull them out of his jacket pocket and it'd just be balls of quarters. And he'd be like, man, pick which one you want. Here, boom, 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 boom. Quartering everybody to death, but this dope was so good, people were faithful to these Paisas. They got rich. Now, they weren't trying to take over the yard like gang-wise and cultura-wise. They weren't politicking. They weren't doing nothing crazy of that sort. These dudes just all about feria. They were all about money. And mind you, I would spend like 300 or 400 a week or every 2 weeks on some quarters. And trust me, and I would stretch them quarters out because they were so fat and they were chunky. But we used to always sit there on the yard and be like, hey, which one of these fools goes to visit, bro? How are they going to bring it in? Like, we wanted to find the plug. Why? It's just human nature. It's a common practice on SNY, you know, remove the head of the snake or just go to the main supplier. Some people don't like to cut out the middleman. But this dude, there's people that play the middleman role on the SNYs where they'll get a quarter, say they're going to purchase a quarter through you. You know, they'll go to their cell, chop up a little corner of it, get high real quick, and they give it to you. That's how they get a free high. People are scandalous like that. This dude literally had it wrapped in front of you, but like, which one you want? Here. Boom, 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 boom. And then, when the yard got hot and IGI started hitting them, it died down for a little bit. Like a month. You know, the yard was dry. Everybody was popping psychotic pills or whatever they're called, psychiatric pills and Triliptols and, you know what I mean, whatever. And then they hit again. But they hit a big one. We're talking about, the rumor was they hit like 4 zips of heroin just to last for a while. And their heroin had shelf money. Their heroin had a lot of shelf life. Like, they were sitting on it for, I mean, you can smell the heroin, bro. You smell heroin and you smell hella booty. Like, oh, it's been up there for 3 weeks. Oh, yeah. I can smell pastrami. That's noodles con papas. That's a spread right there. That's a hot Cheeto spread. I can smell it. Sometimes you slam that heroin, you can taste the shit in your mouth. Like, caca. Caca, dookie heroin. But still, it was that good. And then they had so much dope that they were offering everybody. We'll give you 2 quarters for $100 green dots, but we got to check the green dots first. People ran to that deal. Like I said, these quarters, you can break them down and make like 5, 6, 50 papers and just get high for like a week straight. So I would send him my $100 green dots to school. He'd go to school. He'd go back. We go to, it was like 2 o'clock. We go back to our buildings. They'd find a way to get it to you. Through a porter, through the kitchen workers, to the people that push the carts. And you would get 2 fat quarters if your numbers cleared. If your numbers didn't clear, he'll send them back to you and be like, hey, bro, your shit was bunk. You know, check again. The best way to do it with these guys, and these guys offered it to a lot of people that they knew that money was good, that their numbers cleared. If you were in good with them like that, you can literally, if they're out of dope, you can literally just say, hey, look, I got $200 or $300. What you going to give me? If you pay in advance and they take the money and cash it in, and then you have to wait like a week or 2, trust me, it's worth the wait. You're going to get like 2 grams, 3 grams. Fat, dark, milk, chocolate, dodo, dookie, heroin. That's where their downfall was at. They started getting real desperate. The yard was getting hot. I think they knew they were going to get busted. And see, what happened was there was this little paisa. He had like these bifocals, little bald-headed, big mustache, big goatee. Like, he had the Mexican flag tatted across his chest. I think he was in 3 block, if I'm not mistaken, because I know the Northerners mess with them tough. I want to say he was a connect, but I don't. I don't like to make assumptions and judge wrongfully. But this individual, I guess, he was going to hit. And everybody was like, all right, then let's put our bid in now. Everybody on the yard, the skinheads, the riders, zapatistas, 2 fivers, were all throwing green dots at him. He was supposed to hit at least another 3 or 4 zips. Easy. So people were trying to book them grams in like that. That way, you know, after it's all said and done, he's going to paper people to death and make that extra 2 or 3,000. I talked to about maybe 7 or 9 people at the time that actually sent them like $200, $300, $500 green dots and cleared it. What happens? Dude gets put under investigation. They cancel his visits. Now, mind you, that's a lot of money that most of the time you don't anticipate getting your visits taken. So you're just cashing it. You're writing it down who you owe, what, who paid you what. But once you all cash it on a green dot like debit card, man, you got to have your family go out there and get green dots all over again. So that's going to be a time process. Sometimes you don't get access to that phone. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you might go on lockdown. But he got a lot of people for about 3 to 5 grand worth of green dots before he hit for that visit. But that's a risk you had to take. So now that his visits get took, you know, that dude Tijeras was walking around like, hey, we're going to get you guys your money back. Here's a papel. Here's a 50 paper. Just stall out. Now, they were just chipping little small papers to everybody like, here. You know, be content. We're going to figure all this out. We don't know what happened. I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to get somebody else, one of the other Paisas, to go out for the visit this one time, bring it all in, and they were going to just shut down business altogether. They got rich for 6 to 8 months, bro. 6 to 8 months. But people waited like 3 or 4 weeks, bro, and nobody was seeing green dots. And these dudes thought that because they fed everybody their habit, had everybody high, blessed some people, gave people some good deals, that people were just going to overlook the fact that, you know, you got my money and you're not giving it back. Bro, people are serious about their drugs and people are serious about their money. They wanted one or the other. Mostly the drugs. When you have a fiend really fiending and he needs his issue, he needs his fix, bro, he's liable to cut the whole desk up and make ninja stars and throw them at you in your face like yard until you die. So we go to yard one day. We see them Paisas grouping up. We see that homeboy Tijeras or Tijuas, something like that. He's going around talking to a lot of people. You can see the stress on his face. You can see the stress. Now, I wasn't paying no mind to it at the time. I was just walking around. You know, I only put in like a couple $100. I wasn't tripping on it like that. I was like, whatever. I mean, if I get it, I get it. I don't, I'll just book them. That was my solution. I was like, bro, when I reach that point where I don't want to wait no more, I could just book one of these dudes. It doesn't matter. No homies will jump in. It's just the way it works. But it was like a Saturday yard. My building, I was A2B, but my yard day landed on Saturday, so I got to be out there with everybody that had A1A status. So those yards be deep. It be popping. You'll see like 3 or 4 fights before a yard recall. There's so many people out there that you can literally just fight and then get away with it. If you guys punch each other like for 10 seconds and then walk away, you got away with a one-on-one. That's how many people are out there on the yard. So I'm taking laps with the homies, doing my lunges, my leg routines, chopping it up. I was chopping it up with a zapatista at the time. And sure enough, out of nowhere, you see that little paisa getting socked up by those the United ones. But they're socking him up 3-on-1, like punching him. Like, he's a little guy, so he's kind of like covering his head, and they're punching him all on top of his head, on his ribs. They're kicking his knees. They're kicking his butt. They're socking him in the back. There was like one part where they socked him like in the spine, like on the upper half, and you see him just go like, ugh. I was like, ugh. They jumped him for about a good 20 seconds. They didn't even call the yard down. I don't think they seen it. So sure enough, they're all chopping it up. The Paisas walking around like, hey. Like, he's hurt, his back hurts. Bro, like 30 minutes, 40 minutes passed by. I wound up going to the 2-5ers pull-up bar, and I was doing pull-ups. And then I took another lap. And right when I got to 3 block, the United ones, they were in between 2 and 3. There's a big wall right there. And I kid you not, that Paisa that got socked in the back had a razor blade and was just smacking one of them. But it was crazy because when they called yard, when they said yard get down, the other ones that were jumping him were like trying to jump in to jump on him. But the fool he was whacking was this dude. He had a weird tattoo on his face. That's the only thing I seen. He had long hair. He looked hella crummy and dusty, but he used to always kick it with these paisanos, and he was just hitting them. Slap, slap. Dude, they were just like this. But that paisa, the paisa made a weird noise. He was like, shoot, shoot, shoot. Shoot! And the other fools are trying to jump in. The other fools like trying to back up. But when he backed up, his back hit the wall. So he kind of slid down. And he was like blocking his face. But he was trying to turn and run. The other fools were like this. All they were doing is trying to kick his ankles. Trying to swing at him. And he was just swinging in the air. I don't know why he was making that noise. But you know what I mean? Obviously, I don't know if it was for dramatic effects. Or, you know, he was controlling his breathing. Like he had some boxing technique down. But he was like... So he's swinging in the air trying to back these fools off. Yard goes down. The CLs go over there about to spray him. Everybody gets down. Literally, they had to yell at that paisa because he still had it in his hand when he was laying down. So he throws it. They cuff everybody up. Dude, I mean, with those razor blades, yeah, he bled a lot. But unless you mold them right, dude, they're just gonna be like big scratches. It's like how you get a paper cut and your paper cut it just bleeds a lot and can't stop bleeding, but it's very small. Like you really gotta hit somebody with that razor blade at the edge when it points out like that. That's the best one. And half the time you're gonna get a good couple and it's gonna snap. Those razor blades are made to be too flimsy, purposely for that. So everybody goes yard recall. We see blood everywhere. We go on lockdown for about maybe I want to say 6 days. Then we resumed. Mind you, every single one of them paisas was gone. So you can imagine how many people got burned for all that money. I don't know if the paisa that got removed and got socked up in the beginning was the one burning people. I don't know if that paisa decided to say, you know what, I'm getting off the yard in, and just started whacking one of the ones he thought were vulnerable and wasn't going to fight back. But all 4 or 5 of these guys were gone, including Tijeras or Tijuas, whatever his name was. They were gone. Everybody got burned. Everybody was sick. That was like one of the biggest talks of the yard for forever. But I understand the paisa. I mean, you don't want to get jumped by your homies and then just feel like you're going to be comfortable around them. You're not going to feel comfortable around them. Like, these are your people. These are people you stood for. And then that's how politics work on the SNY. It's usually whenever you're in the wrong or when other people press your group segment and they want something done, instead of you just defending your brother and say, you know what, right or wrong, bro, we're going to jump, it always turns inwards. It always becomes internal where you have to worry about your own. So this whole time you're thinking your brother's got your back to go fight them, just kick a ride off, just go do this removal. It's always the one that's standing behind you that's the one that's going to take you out. And that's the harsh reality about prison politics. You're always going to get stabbed in the back. No matter what. It happens to everybody. If you've been involved in prison and been involved in prison politics, at one point in your life, you got stabbed in the back by somebody from your own car. So I thought I'd share that story with you guys. They were called the United Ones. They lasted for about 6-8 months. I don't know what happened to them after that. I never heard about them again. But thought I'd share that story with you guys. So with that being said, like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. Peace.